Evening all. How you going? I said I'd do a few more of these live videos to sort of keep in touch and all. And I ended up thinking, well, what am I going to talk about this time? So I thought I'd let you all in on what's coming up in my music collection project. So I've been doing the Every Record I Own thing for about 5 years or so now. And you know how 6 months ago, the start of ISO, everyone started posting pictures of album covers? Well, you're welcome. Um, Good idea, that. Wonder who thought of it. Um, so I finished all the 12-inch records and then all the singles, and then I started on my CDs. And around that time, I inherited a box of about 100 other records from a colleague, so I've been doing those interspersed at the same time. My record collection and CD collection is in strict chronological order of release. It makes sense to me, and that's all that matters. If you do things differently, go ahead and be wrong. See if I care. I know it's weird to most people, but if I'm looking for Dark Side of the Moon, I'm going to be looking under 1973, not P for Pink Floyd. That'd be weird. So in my CDs, I'm up to 1986, and I'm sort of about 3/4 of the way through 1986. So these are the ones that are coming up. These just happen to be coming up next in the chronology. And my my 80s CDs are fairly sparse because most of them, the ones that I was really keen on, I bought on vinyl at the time. And it occurs to me that all of these are, in fact, expanded reissues. So, go figure. So, next one that's coming up, Graceland. Probably one of the most important albums in history. I'm not saying it's one of the best albums in history, although I'd say definitely top 10. But I think, one of the most important albums in history, not just musical history, but in fact geopolitical history. This album changed a lot. Not without controversy, of course. Paul Simon broke a boycott to make this album with the South African musicians, and it came just a year after Sun City, which one of the great protest songs of the 80s, where it was agreed that artists weren't going to tour and play in South Africa because they did not want to be seen in any way to be endorsing apartheid, which is not to say that Paul Simon was in any way endorsing apartheid by working with these black musicians. I mean, obviously not. But he did cross a picket line to do this. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I don't have an informed opinion on that. It's just one way to describe how it was actually made. And it has to be said, the fusion of European and African music that's on here, it's nothing that Johnny Clegg wasn't trying to do for many years before. It took the fame of an American musician to really make it cross over. So, you know, I'm not saying it's not problematic in some ways. And I just wonder if between the two of them, maybe, you know, between the boycott and the crossover, history records that apartheid was gone 5 years later. Maybe it was a combination of the two. I don't know. I'm happy to be educated on this. But the album in its own right is absolutely wonderful. I love the fact that it's not self-consciously multicultural. There is fusion there, of course. There are only a couple of really obviously African songs. Homeless, of course, and Under African Skies, but a lot of it is pure New York. So yeah, the song Gumboots, and I don't even have to read from the lyrics. I was having this discussion in a taxi going downtown, rearranging my position on a friend who'd had a little bit of a breakdown. I said, well, breakdowns come and breakdowns go. What are you going to do about it? That's what I'd like to know. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. Now, that's just every Woody Allen film ever made in one verse. With the added bonus of not having Woody Allen in it. Crazy Love, very similar as well. So, yeah, absolutely wonderful album. And I didn't realise this is the 25th anniversary edition, which actually has an additional DVD about the making of the album. I'd forgotten all about that, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to that. Following that is another reissue with DVD, Mike Batt's musical of The Hunting of the Snark. Now, if you haven't heard if you think you haven't heard Mike Batt's music, you're wrong. The Wombles theme, the theme from Bright Eyes, don't sing it, I'll cry. Art Garfunkel is an instrument best played by Paul Simon, but Mike Batt comes a very, very close second. I originally ordered this album. I have it on vinyl as well. I also have Graceland on vinyl. A bit lived in, which is why I replaced it on CD. So I originally ordered this without ever having heard it, based on a good review. It was 1987. I was in year 10, and I would read the record reviews in the paper at recess in the morning, and I saw this mentioned, and I thought, well, I've got to have that. And it's beautiful. This album, this album and this production has been followed by a lot of bad luck. The expanded stage version sadly flopped, and Mike Batt was going to do an expanded recording with lots more guest vocalists, but that ended when Pledge Music went under. So it's quite sad, but I absolutely love this. I was about 15, and I was really getting into Lewis Carroll at the time, so it was perfect timing for this as well. And I was glad to get it on CD because my vinyl copy was pressed slightly off center, which normally doesn't matter too much, but right at the end, spoiler alert, there's this really one long chord that goes for about 4 bars, and because it's pressed slightly off center, you can really hear that it's pressed off center. So having it on a perfect CD is I was really glad that this was reissued. I'm not a vinyl snob, okay? I like the romance of it. I like the beauty of it, but they can be cumbersome and fragile, and I'm not denying that at all. The bonus DVD of this one is the premiere concert, which has Billy Connolly playing the part originally played by Cliff Richard. I'm just going to let you digest that on your own without comment. All right. Following that is going to be True Stories, Talking Heads. Again, reissue. The interesting thing about certain bands like Talking Heads, U2, and Midnight Oil, I've come to enjoy in retrospect, because I never had any of their records growing up because I didn't need them. Everyone I knew had them, so I was always hearing, Talking Heads and U2 and Midnight Oil quite enough. So I haven't listened to this album yet. No, I never listened to it at the time. So Wild Wild Life is the only song I really know on this one. One thing I really like about this is it's a dual disc. So one side is a regular CD and the other side is DVD audio, which is not your regular DVD that just has sound on it. It is a separate format. So DVD audio discs will play on any regular DVD player, just with the Dolby and DTS streams, but it requires an actual DVD audio player to have the really high resolution audio. So when you have that, it plays ultra high resolution surround. And the stereo stream it's still PCM format, so it's essentially the same as CD, but much higher resolution, 96K sample rate, 24-bit depth. It's, aside from the surround option, and I still don't have a surround system, so I still have to wait to hear that. But I do have a DVD audio player. It's become, or both aspects of it have become a little bit redundant with high-res downloads and Blu-ray audio, I suppose. But yeah, back in the noughties, the two competing formats were DVD audio, which was essentially an expansion on CD audio, because as I said, it's the same format, just much higher resolution, and Super Audio CD, or SACD, completely different format, but arguably even better. I know James Guthrie, who does the Pink Floyd remasters, argues that it's the SACD version that is the ultimate version of Wish You Were Here, if that's what you're after. The last one that's coming up for 1986 is Michelle Shocked. This edition is called the Texas Campfire Takes. It's an expanded reissue of her first album, which was called the Texas Campfire Tapes. Not an affectation. It was actually recorded in Texas around a campfire on a Walkman with dying batteries, so it was even the wrong speed. So this expanded edition has the album in its original format and a bonus disc of the full session with corrected speed. This was signed. I saw Michelle in 2005. She has gone a bit funny since then, off and on, but you know, people are complex, and artists are quirky. One thing I do like about this is the last track on the bonus disc is called Lanyap. Now, you'll either get that word or you don't, and if you don't, I'm not going to explain it to you. You can talk to a South Louisianan. Again, I couldn't hum a song off this. I think I played it once or twice when I first got it and haven't for ages since, but I do love the copyright thing. Unauthorized copying, reproduction, hiring, lending, public performance, broadcasting, file sharing, and downloading prohibited. But you can sing them and play them as much as you want to. All right, well, that's my weekend planned because bugger the footy, and I hope you have a good one when you get there too. If you're watching this later on YouTube, click the subscribe button wherever it is, or don't. I don't give a shit. Your life's your own.